from wherever part of the world you are. It is a program that is actually engaging, and you can always be part of it. All you need to do is just tweet us, and the simplest thing to do is add the hashtag #TheBottomLineKE. We'll definitely be able to sample your tweets and your feedback in the course of the program. My name, as always, is Eugene. And in the program today, we are highlighting the issue of citizen participation, especially on political matters. How often do you participate? You know, what really took you off the politics in the country, or what is it that inspires you to participate in political processes in the country? Are you that person who says, siasa sio mambo yangu, siasa achia wanasiasa? We want to hear your thoughts. Do you feel that those who do not participate in the electoral processes, when they have all it takes to do that, should not complain about leadership issues in the country? We want to read your thoughts on that. So keep tweeting. Let us know what your thoughts are on this particular matter. You can follow us on Twitter at LookUpTV, and you can tweet me directly at Eugene Anangwe. This is The Bottom Line, KE. Right, thank you so much for joining us right here on the program. I was just joking before we went on air that this is a power panel. We have former presidential candidates, we have a former deputy presidential candidate, we have a nominated senator, and of course we also have a former nominated member of parliament. Allow me to introduce them properly. We have none other than Honorable Rose Nyamunga here, nominated senator for the ODM. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Thank you. Also with us is none other than Ronald Osumba. He is a former deputy presidential candidate in the year 2013. Thank you so much for joining us. Also with us is none other than Sonia Birdi, former nominated member of parliament, URP, then URP. And of course, also joining us virtually is Dr. Joseph Kalui, presidential candidate 2017. Thank you so much for joining us, Mheshimiwa, all the way, you said, in the UK?
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. Missing in action is Javas Bigambo, who has been held elsewhere with some other events. But I want to start off this conversation from where I was taught. I always tell people that I was taught very well. I was told ladies always go first. And Ronnie and Daktari, I hope you'll pardon me on this. I want to start with you, Senator. The current state of affairs in the country, of course, before we get into the conversation of the day, a lot has been happening. We have heard from various leaders on their take on what is going on, from the security issues, the deputy president, to the climbing of the mountain by your party leader, and many more. I want to read your thoughts, first of all, on the state of affairs in the country when it comes to politics as we prepare for 2022.
Yeah, thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me.
Yes.
And first of all, I must say this is a very nice studio.
Thank you.
I think most of us should be aware that it is here.
Asante.
And I'm glad that I'm just a neighbor, just a stone throw away from it.
Yes.
So the political situation in Kenya, I think that is a very complex question, that it will be very difficult to handle it because there's so much going on. So much going on. I know people are getting ready for 2022. We have as presidential candidates, people want to cover as much as possible to make sure that they acquaint themselves with the politics of the day and also the elections. So in my view, there's a lot going on. Yeah. And if I may talk about my party leader, you're saying he's climbing the mountain. Yes. I know he is climbing the mountain. Yeah, but one thing I must say about my party leader, yes, he's climbing the mountain, but he is not a stranger. He's not a stranger in this country. Raila Amolo Odinga is one person who is known all over this country. And I think from the mountain, there's been a lot of negative publicity that has gone on. Yeah. And that is why, that's what is making it, for him, a little bit, a lot of work for him to do. Yeah. But not that is not known, not that the people from the mountain don't know the role that he has played in this country. It has been very, very critical. In fact, most people say that whatever whatever we enjoy, and I'm not bragging about this, I just mean it. Raila has played a major role.
But Jimmy Wanjigi says it's time for him to, sit back.
You know, he can't sit back before he finishes the work.
Okay.
You only sit back once you completed your work, the responsibility that you've been given by maybe God and by the people, because Kenyans are still looking up to him for a liberation.
Right.
So I know there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Ronnie, I'd want to think that from the 2013 experience as a deputy presidential candidate and looking at what's going on today in the country, I mean, do you sit back and wish that, I wish they could have voted us in, looking at all the drama that is going on, especially in that particular position that you are vying for?
Yeah, thank you. I think, of course, I look back at 2013 with a bit of nostalgia.
Yeah.
And, thank God for the opportunity for having been able to engage with Kenyans across the country.
Yeah.
I think the one unfortunate thing, and for me, this is, one of the issues that has made me step back from politics, is that unfortunately we have politicized everything about our lives in Kenya, and such that we are gripped in this political cycle.
Yeah.
In many countries they say every 5 years.
Yeah.
In our country it is for 5 years.
For 5 years.
Every 5 years. And I think it is unfortunate because we then are not able to get to the work that needs to get done between election cycles. I think one of the things we must begin to appreciate as a country is that an election is an event.
Yeah.
It is an event that defines how we live for the next 5 years. In 2013, we told people, these are the things that we were going to sort out. If we were to go back on the campaign trail today, we would probably be speaking about exactly the same issues.
Yeah, because we never sorted them.
Because they were never sorted out. And we said, if you wait for 5 years, we were told, your time has not come.
Yeah.
Your type of politics is not for Kenya.
Yeah.
Kenyans don't like talking about issues.
Yeah.
And, at that time we said, waiting for 5 years is 5 years too long.
Yeah.
So, of course, we can't get out of it. We are now in an election cycle. The candidates are bringing themselves to the people, and I suspect that is why we are here today to ask Kenyans, how do you engage proactively and positively to ensure that the outcome of that event next year gives you what you want your life to look like the 5 years after that?
Right. Mheshimiwa Birdi, I mean, for you, from where you sit, do you see a scenario of proper participation by the citizens? Because Mheshimiwa Ronnie says that ours is not something that ends after we've done the elections. It's something that happens for 5 years. If we are always talking about politics and the electioneering period for 5 years, does that translate to proper participation? Would we be comfortable to say, Kenyans do participate in the electoral processes?
First of all, Eugene, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
I just want to say for the record that you invited me after you saw me waking up from my slumber on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I want to thank all my Twitter friends who are watching us today. I was off Twitter and social media for the past 3 or 4 weeks because of personal reasons, but due to compelling reasons regarding a certain bill, I was forced to come back on Twitter, but I can still not access my Facebook accounts. That's the power of social media these days. That notwithstanding, are we spending too much of conscious effort on something like politics? As a country, I think we all should be thinking about it. The trouble is, only a few people are thinking about it. And those few people are the mouths of everybody. There's a big section of minority groups, middle class people, who work so hard to bring food on the table. Today, I can tell you that there are different classes of people out there who don't care about politics. All they want to see is that the child's school fees is paid, and this person might be earning 500,000 shillings a month. There's another one who can't pay his school fees anyway. And these days you will hear that my sister did not go to school because she let me go to school because I'm the boy of the house. These are the things we should be talking about today. And I am not seeing that enough in the mainstream media. So I'm applauding you. At least there is some sense out there,
Yeah.
sensible people who are asking the sensible questions
Yeah.
and bringing people on one platform to talk about it.
Yeah.
So are we talking enough about it?
Yeah.
I'd say we're talking enough about only 3 or 4 people. We're not talking about the real political issues that's supposed to be going to answering our questions. If you ask me honestly, people are fed up.
Yeah.
Because what we are requiring from our leaders, our expectations were here before,
yeah.
and now they're here.
Yeah.
And our leaders, well, we're broke.
Yeah.
I mean, where do we have the money? We're already in this big hole. So we're grabbing. And that's where everything has a roller coaster effect, and that is really pressurizing our system.
It is pressurizing our system. Let me bring in Dr. Joseph Kalui. Doctor, in 2017, you gathered your confidence and courage and said, you know what, even if I get 2 votes, I'm going for this top office. I want to change the nation. I want to change the way things are happening. And here we are today as a nation asking ourselves whether the citizens, those who actually have the right to vote and have the ability to vote, are they really participating in a way that when they make that political decision when it comes to the vote, they will never regret their actions after they have put in office people like you and the rest of the politicians? Are we doing that as a nation?
Kwanza na wasalimia wa Kenya wote popote walipo katika Jamhuri ya Kenya na ulimwenguni kote wanaposikiza na kutazama. Greetings, my fellow Kenyans, and also greetings to you, Eugene, and my fellow participants on the panel. It is a very important question today, and also thank the previous people who came before me, including Raila, as we have heard that he has been fighting and he has scars to show it. Also, you know, other people, Kenyatta, who have given the environment for us to be able to participate. And I am saying that we are products of the previous work. But just before I answer the question in participation, that does not necessarily, as I listen, that does not necessarily mean that the same people must always seek the office. I think we are in a transition point in our nation that other new leaders, other new people, if you have been training people for as long as you have been, and I have a background of being a professor and a university dean, what you call the chancellor, you train people so that they can take over from you. So it doesn't mean you stay there. Your work must be seen in the generation that is coming so that they can be able to continue doing good work. Like Socrates, we continue the work of Socrates, Isaac Newton, and all those people. So they don't have to stay because time comes when they must exit.
Dr. Just to be clear, are you trying to say that the people like Raila Odinga, Uhuru Kenyatta, the kind of crop we have, are you trying to say their time is up, or what are you trying to say?
It is time to exit the seat, to the scene, because what I'm saying is that they have trained us. We respect them. We will always take care of them. And if they are worried about being in the government, Raila will never be outside my government. Kenyatta will never be outside. Ruto, I will listen to them. Musalia, Wetangula, Kalonzo. So it is okay if they are worried about being in the government. In my administration, they will always be there for consultation. But it is time to hand over the mantle to the new generation so that we can also, drive the country. Generation has changed to the destiny of our choosing. Now, talking about participation, I don't think people are participating, and I agree with one of the previous panelists, and I apologize, I'm going to get the names as we continue talking. But one of the Mheshimiwas has said she's not seeing enough participation and people talking about the things that matter. First, I thank you, Eugene, because you're one of the people who are starting to bring anyone to hear all the opinions. Not all the media is doing that. You always just hear Raila, Ruto. As a matter of fact, it is a character that they have just formed, 2-horse race. Even Raila has not even declared today, but you hear it is Ruto answered Raila. Raila is the presidential candidate. These are artificial candidates. You know that. We know how it is done, and those who have experience, it is done that way. But we need to get out of that as media. And I'm not even attacking media because I'm a previous media journalist myself, TV and radio show host. So I am a part of it. I know what priming and all that kind of thing is done. So we need to get out of there if we have to give the Kenya a fair view of who are in the panel. There are many people who can take the mantle and move on because, they were once like us. Then the other thing is that we are not seeing participation, partly because there's a limitation of coronavirus. So people are not going out. And to some extent, it is also a blessing in disguise. Because what used to happen is the people with big money that is not even accountable, we don't know where the money comes from, that you can pay and, be able to fill a stadium. Where do you get that kind of money from? But somehow they had accumulated that kind of money. So they are likely to run over people and just whip people's emotions. Now, when it is slowed down, we need to be able to find an alternative system where people can understand the policies and also the plans that people have. So that's why I'm challenging Chebukati and the IEBC to create a debate system like any other country during Corona system, to be able to have a debate every month till elections. And I can tell you, I can guarantee you most of the characters or most of the presidential candidates that are running around, they will not even agree to be answerable to it because they don't want to be accountable. But Chebukati should be able to go forward and be able to make debates so that the Kenyan people, both on radio and TV and also social media, they can be able to listen who is able to take the country forward in the direction that Kenyans want. It is time to get away from the usual business as usual. And I guarantee you, if that happens, I will come out the top and I'm willing to fight. And I hope I can beat them like a drum.
Right. Let me assure you that whether Chebukati agrees to that or not, here at Look Up TV, we are on our way there to create these kind of conversations. Let me bring back, Honorable Senator, ethnicity has remained a very great symbol of the structure and use of political power in this country. I mean, there's no electioneering period where people will never talk about tribal politics. And you've seen how politicians have used this so well as a tool to drive participation in fighting their opponents. It is us, it is our time, siasa za mtu wetu. That's how the participation is rallied when it comes to the common mwananchi. We understand the 2013 infamous tyranny of numbers, a statement that was coined or mentioned or brought to the light in relation to our politics by Professor Mutai Ngunyi. What can we see in terms of how ethnicity remains a major tool in mobilizing and rallying people, and how can we as a nation, can we even, split out of it? Are we ready as a country to talk about politics that is devoid of tribe, that it is just built and brought to the forth in terms of the citizens, just out of the things that this person can deliver for you and not from where they come from?
Yeah, thank you again for the question. But before I tackle that question, I would like to say something about what Daktari has been talking about.
Correct, rejoinder allowed.
Yes, that the current leaders need to exit for the younger leaders to come up. In my view, even as you bring up your family, your children, as a man or as a woman, you don't, it's not that you must exit for your children
to take over.
It's something that is so automatic that my children can take over even as I am today, and it is so easy to tell. So I don't need to exit, or our leaders don't need to exit, but we should see those leaders.
But there can only be one presidential candidate. They can't have two from the same party, Senator.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, it doesn't matter. We can have 20 parties, and we have 20 candidates. And whether young or old, Kenyans should be able to pick, to identify and say, yes, that is the man we want. But those young people are not coming up. And even if you ask me today, apart from what we are seeing, I don't know who else. So if really leaders want to take over, let us see them. Let them come on board.
Akisi usimame, wewe pia ni young. Come on.
Not really. I mean, I should. If I want, I should.
Yeah.
But I know that is my role. That's not my role for now.
For now.
I know what my role is. That's the role for some other people. But nobody's stopping somebody from coming up. And we are not waiting for these leaders to exit for other people to come up.
Okay.
It should be so simultaneous and it should be so automatic. And anybody should be able to see. Even anybody should be able. Leadership is, I mean, there's enough space for everybody. So nobody needs to exit before somebody else comes. I just wanted to make that.
Okay.
Now, coming to ethnicity.
Yeah.
Ethnicity is not a negative thing. It's not a bad thing. Because it's not only in Africa. It's not only in Kenya. It's not only in, I mean, from where I come from. I think even the Europeans themselves, they also have ethnicity. If you look at United Kingdom, they have the English people, the Irish, the Scottish, they have all that. But it's not used negatively. So the problem that we have, there's nothing wrong with ethnicity. And I should be very proud. Going back to the Bible, when time came for people to be counted, the people are asked to go back to their villages and to their clans for census. So it's with us who use it negatively. And I think it is the politicians who have perfected the thing. When I was growing up, going to school with other members of different communities, if anything, we loved them. We love other communities. Anybody who, I went to Ngia Girls High School, and Ngia Girls is predominantly in the lowland. So say 80 or say even 90% of the students were coming from the Luo community. But I did not see anything called tribalism. If anything, we were very fair to the majority tribes. And we made sure that everybody had an opportunity. But this is a tool that has been developed by our politicians. And I think it started with independence. So they started galvanizing their tribal people, tribesmen, to help them. So this is one thing that we can see how we demystify it, but not that tribalism. I mean, tribal settings or communities or ethnicity is bad. It is not bad, and you feel very comfortable when you are amongst your people. Like anytime you get out of this country and you meet a Kenyan, you feel good because this is a Kenyan. That time you're not even talking about the tribe
that they come from.
Yeah, but you just see that the sense of belonging. And even if you go into Kenya, you see Kenya Airways, you feel good because you know now I'm at home. So it is very good. It's supposed to be positive. But it is us politicians who have demonized it and used it negatively to the extent that we even allow people to fight. And we have taken it up to the clan and to the villages. So it is something that we should be thinking about very critically to see what we should do about it. But as it is getting out of hand. And I think a lot of our problems are emanating from this tribal and ethnicity, but because we are using it negative, but not that ethnicity is bad.
It's a bad thing. Ronnie, in terms of participation, we've seen politicians galvanize and mobilize their troops and their electorate along those tribal lines. You know, let us all move towards Party X. There's been a very key terminology that we must remain united. That is what the politicians are saying. And who are they addressing this to? Their fellow tribesmen. We must remain united. Is this the best way of mobilizing participation in political affairs?
And I think the rightful place to start, and I would like to deconstruct a few things that have been said, is we need to be able to distinguish between political participation and civic participation. Now, I am completely, opposed on keeping Kenyans on a political participation mode for 5 years. I think, like I said at the beginning, an election is an event that happens 5 years. That event has processes defined in the Constitution. Kenyans need to participate in those events within the Constitution in that process, which is register, inspect the registrar role when the time comes, vet your candidates, submit a memoranda to IBC.
Who's supposed to do all this?
This is the constitutional requirement for Kenyans. In fact, Kenyans, our problem is we are lazy. We hold our politicians accountable for delivering the Constitution. We forget that we, as Kenyans, as citizens, actually have a role in that Constitution. So the electoral process is a requirement that Kenyans participate. I support. But when we are talking about issues, and this is where issues get lost, because we confuse Kenyans, that political engagement is the same as civic engagement. It is not. Civic engagement is about engaging those elected leaders to now deliver on the promise, ensuring you participate in budget planning and budget monitoring and how they're spending your finances, in ensuring that the quality of standards of education, of healthcare is held to the standard that the politicians committed. Now that is civic engagement. A lot of NGOs are leading this front, a lot of CSOs, you have a lot of young people who do this. But there is a gap between their engagement on civic level and then how they translate this into the politics. And I think that is where we now need to begin to educate Kenyans a bit more, that there is actually a distinction.
Do you believe the politicians are really genuine to really want Kenyans to be educated?
And I am coming to that.
Yeah.
And in fact, this is what then leads to what Senator was talking about, negative ethnicity, weaponizing our tribes and our ethnic backgrounds against each other. Now, and before I jump into that, because I know that was your question, there was the issue of, so if we are participating civic engagement and we are encouraging young people to participate in civic engagement, then they begin to understand the issues. The more they engage, the more they understand, the more they start questioning their politicians on the issues. But because we have killed civic engagement, the Mwananchi themselves do not have an understanding of the issues. Therefore, the politician can fill the gap with the politics. And because now, we are put in this election mode throughout, now we are told, you are one of us. I was seeing another one the other day telling, people from a different, I think from your party, that they cannot go to their territory in Western because they want to run for governor.
Able clarify that, because I see senators giving you some very...
No, she knows who I am talking about. And the problem with that is, and Senator is very right, everywhere in the world, including the US, ethnicity, because naturally humans want a sense of belonging. They want to group, and then they want to negotiate as a group. And even in the US, whether you're talking about the Hispanics, whether you're talking about the Black Americans, they always come together and then they go to the negotiation table and say which candidate is going to deliver for us. If you like, that's exactly what Kenyans do. The challenge becomes when that ethnicity is then weaponized against us, but more importantly, I think what we're talking about, weaponized against civic participation. Because we don't want the hard questions from Mwananchi. We don't want the Mwananchi to understand the issues. Exactly that. Mjinga akirevuka. So we don't want Mwananchi to be a revuka. So we will then put them in this endless political cycle for 5 years so that we can be able to diminish their civic participation. Finally, let me just respond to something that Dr. also mentioned here about and I guess the bigger issue here is generational change. Again, nowhere in the world do you hear people saying, now these people have been there for too long, now you go so that others can come. You have to create your space. This is what democracy is about. And in fact, Dr. is treading on very dangerous territory on marginalization of the elder people, right? And saying this is being ageist. This is saying because you are so old and because you have been around for so long, you do not have a right to participate. The Constitution guarantees everyone in this country, whatever age, whatever sex, whatever tribe, to participate in the electoral process. And participation in the electoral process includes giving in yourself. Mimi nilijitolea, daktari, in 2013, we had an extremely youthful ticket. Peter Kenneth was 47 at the time. I was 33. What happened? If this generational change was supposed to happen, it should have happened then. And we were talking of issues, right? People now are saying, oh, now we've changed the conversation, now we'll start talking about issues. No, in 2013, we were talking about issues, very clearly defined issues. We went around this country and we presented those issues, and everybody told us, fantastic, you guys are great, but hamutashinda. We will support the winning horse, right? Now, the winning horse has gotten us here.
The winning horse has gotten us here. Honorability, I mean, you've also sat in Parliament as a nominated member of Parliament. And in Parliament, we always are told that these are the representatives of the people. But in many occasions, the representatives of the people, especially in today's Parliament, there's been an argument that we've seen even the BBI process. It went through the Senate, went through the county assemblies, came to Parliament, only for us to be told 2 times that it is illegal, null, and void. When we talk about participation in areas where the common Mwananchi can't sit on that table of negotiation, and they rely on people like you and Senator here, I mean, do we just sit back and say, we've lost hope as a nation in terms of participation? Our representatives are not even doing what we feel they should be doing?
Eugene, I think you just hit the point, the nail on the head. But let me just, let us just look at what has just been said with a little bit of a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
I want to agree with Senator, with my colleagues here regarding the negative ethnicity concept of this whole thing. You see, there's a difference between patriotism and ethnicity. Yes? So patriotism is when we're seeing Kenya Airways out there. But this negative ethnicity, sorry, I can't get out my words right now, is within our borders. We ourselves, as citizens of this country, were not able, even before COVID, we were not able to live with one another. The problem now is after COVID, because we have had to regroup, people have regrouped and they have made their little pockets. They have gone into their tribes and their communities because they're seeking refuge from one another, because where else are they going to go? You know, maybe their neighbors, maybe their relatives. So that's what's happening right now. And that's why you're seeing a rise in this ethnic drama. And to put the cherry on the cake, it is not communicated in so many terms to say that the problem is something else. But I respect our leaders immensely, because if it wasn't for them, I would not have had a chance to do all the work that I did. And yes, you can look at the handset and see all the work that was done, but I will tell you, nothing prepares you for Parliament or any post of leadership, just the way nothing prepares you for COVID if you and your whole family goes down with COVID, because that happened to our family. And it is one of the most terrible things, because not only does it take you on a roller coaster ride, it is terrible. Our country is not equipped. I was brokenhearted when we were spending thousands and thousands of money on things that you can just sort out with logic. People are dying out there, there's lack of vaccines, and people have to pay to get COVID tested. You have to pay up to 8,000 shillings to get one test. Your job can go, your people pass on. Who are you going to govern, for God's sake, in this country if we cannot even keep these basics right? So, yes, I do love my leaders to bits. But I think it's about time that they should wake up and smell the coffee, because people like us who teach yoga and meditation for a career now, I can tell you there's a problem in our society and in our communities, irrespective ya rangi yako, huku kuna shida watoto wetu wamepotea because of desperation and because of, you know, lack of support from people like us, like us who are leaders, who ourselves we're also looking to rise up. But we don't know how to articulate these issues. And I can tell you, publicly today, I'm sorry, I have a hateful relationship with social media. I hate it. But the more I run away from it, the more harsh it grabs me. I don't know what it is. But this is how what people do these days. From the morning, you will go and you'll see an askari at a gate. He is on Twitter. And he's more famous than you. My friend, what are you going to do? Aren't you going to employ him as a social media expert? This is what is happening outside. So now we want to talk about politics and how we're going to go about talking about it more often, getting the civic education, which I'm telling you, my community we are really far behind as far as civic education is concerned. But there is one thing we're very interested in. Where is the money? And thankfully, we see that a lot of people from my community are in good business. The sad truth is, many of them have lost their business.
Yeah.
Many of them has lost the income which is supposed to be funding those same campaigns that we're going for next year. What sort of situations are we looking at here then? You know, how are we going to go about? I don't know. Maybe you guys have the answer.
Right. And as we ask for that particular answer, let me bring in Dr. Kalui. Dr. Ari, I think from your statement, you've already said we do not have to ask this question. It is already clear that you are eyeing the top seat again come 2022. and I want to indulge you in the question that Honorability has asked. Plus, of course, we'll touch on what my friend Ronnie, are you doctor already? Almost there. Yeah, he mentioned that the direction you're taking in terms of, and those who are in the school of thought that the leaders who have been there for the last 30 years, it's time for them to rest and pave way for new blood. I want to hear your thoughts. As you prepare your political campaign for 2022, we've seen other leaders whip the emotions of their communities in terms of rallying support, and it's about the numbers. We've heard of even communities where leaders have said, stop family planning. You know, can you give birth so that by the time the next election is coming, our population, our numbers are way up there. What is your strategy? How would you be advising your colleagues in your pool of those who want to run for top office to be doing in terms of engaging citizens in both civic and political processes that they will not regret after they vote?
Well, first, let me backtrack a little bit. Is it Osumba, Mr. Osumba, Honorable
Yes.
Osumba?
Yes.
That I'm trending on dangerous ground when we say it is time for those leaders to exit. Actually, I think it's dangerous thinking to think that a person who has been almost there, and I'm talking of the field that we have there, who do we have?
Yeah.
We know who have declared as presidential candidates. And all of them, if you combine their years, it's more than maybe 200 years of experience and operation in leadership. I already started by saying I respect all of them, and they don't have to worry about being in the government because I would like to consult with them. But if you have been trying to solve the same problems for all those years, and because of your participation as a leader, you have brought us where we are, unless you like where we are, then it is time we are not talking of age. As a matter of fact, it's dangerous thinking that to assume that anyone of political sound mind seeking high office in the land will talk about all the people need to go. That's too simplistic. The thing is that we are talking of real issues. If you have not been able to solve problems, that does not mean you stay there till you solve them. You find a way to solve the problem. If you have been solving the problem for, let's say, 50, 60, 70 years, then by the time you get another time to solve the same problem might be another 60, 70 years. In other words, you are telling me to live about 140 years. I don't have 140 years to live. All I'm trying to say is that we appreciate the work that they have done before, their experience, but it is now time for someone else who has a different vision to take this nation to a different direction. I personally respect Raila. I respect many of all these leaders. But where we are, it is because specifically of where all those leaders have brought us. I love them. They have given me opportunity and being able to run for president. But we cannot bury our heads in the sand and say they have done what they are supposed to do. Unless you like where we are, because I've heard the senator say that, the Mheshimiwa say that we are in a bad place in terms of the jobs and the money. The senator has said that the ethnicity is not bad, but also we need, and Osumba is right when he says that it is being weaponized. It is true. what the civic education is not giving people is the right civic education that matters, that have value, not just any. There is so much civic education, but we are saying civic education that has value for the times that we are, that people should notice and should be able to be told the ballot box or the ballot has no name, has no ID, whether you belong to UDA, Jubilee, ODM, or my party. You do not have an obligation to vote for the person, the party that you registered for. Nobody talks about those things. Maybe those are dangerous thoughts that will wake people up. You can belong to any party, ODM, and vote for me. You have no obligation. What we need to be talking about is not theories. And all of you, all of us, we are very experienced in this. We have a real problem in Kenya. What I would like to hear is who is solving we have about 75-80% of the people of 34 and under. Yeah. Who is solving the problems of unemployment? When you are unemployed, you are hungry. When you have no food, whoever controls your food controls you. So we want to know, it is good TV to say negative ethnicity is good TV to say you should show up to be a leader and people will notice. No, this one I can prove you directly that the same leaders have been around, they have been given opportunity, they had a chance, they could not execute. And it will be not fair for the Kenyan people to have the same people trying to figure it again, and it is after all the years since we had independence. So we need to be very direct, practical. The participation has had a problem, particularly with the media. And really, I'd like to see media cover what you are doing, 47. This is very fair. And I also thank Maria Trory. She had me in KTN. I don't want to say everybody else. It's not calling everybody else. But basically, they have made it a two-horse race, and they have always done it. The Waishmiwas and Honorable Sumba, you know that if this is an intentional characters formed to be a two-horse race, because it makes 51%, and therefore you divide the Kenya into two people. That way you can achieve 51% the first round. Normally, that is why I'm advocating these people, they need all the leaders, including me. They need to be vetted. They need to be answerable for their actions, their time in administration and government. Right. And therefore, they should be able to say what their record is saying. And that's why I am saying that people need to know two things. First, because of COVID, we need to be able to have a continuous debate between now and August 8th. And my prediction is that most of the people with the 40 record, they will not accept it. We know the record in this. But when Chebukati says there will be a debate every 2 months, then the Kenyan people will get to know who is who. But with COVID, without good exposure, we're going to end up with limited information to Wananchi, and people run into the streets and with the crowds, and then we always elect the wrong person. Not necessarily the wrong person, but we do not have totally informed information to elect who we really think should be informed. And number two, we need to be able to tell people is the ballots are your secret. If you went to countries like United States, UK, Australia, anywhere else, and you asked someone, who are you going to vote for? They will tell you it's none of your business. It's my secret. It has nothing to do with the Democrats, Republicans, or anybody else. When you go to that ballot box, it is you and your future. It has nothing to do with Dr. Jeff. It has nothing to do with Raila, or DP. You are thinking about your future, and nobody will ever get to know. So those beings, they are not educated, and the TV needs to expose everyone. If I have declared, and you go to my social media, you go everywhere, I have stood and have said, yes, I will. But you hear it in the media. Well, I was saying that KTN has been able to do that. You are doing that. But we like to see a fair. And we know, if we want to dig deeper, we know sometimes there is a lot of compromises. Right. And we know what they are without talking in details. There's a lot of compromise in terms of who gets exposed, and also priming and framing, all that kind of stuff. If we want to talk the facts and specifics, we can. Let's not get into theories, and we know what is happening.
We know what is happening. I mean, Dr. we still have some time, and I'm sure we'll be able to tell us what you know. Let me bring in Senator. I mean, I want to read your thoughts from what he says, but of course, still on the aspect of mobilization through the issue of hypnotization when it comes to, what do they call them? They call them, hii karatasi mnatengenezanga nyi candidates.
Manifesto.
Manifesto. That manifesto thing, you know? And this is what most politicians use, especially those running for top office. And we have seen politicians give us promises, and only for them not to be able to deliver those promises after they've been voted in. And I want to read your thoughts in terms of the participation of the mwananchi who's going to vote. Do they even care about these manifestos, these documents? Or do they just care about, it is my person, it is us versus the other one? Because Senator Isaac Mwaura is on record. He said the demonization of Raila Odinga in central Kenya by the president during the times when they had not yet shaken hands is not easy to undo. And most people in central province, they go to vote against Raila Odinga as opposed to the person they're actually voting for. They just want lazima to vote yeye inje. So talk to me a bit about that area, because we've seen people getting drunk on these manifestos, these promises, only for the leaders to go into office and we go back to complaining mode as a citizenry. Hii ni nini huwa mnatufanyia kweli kama waheshimiwa? Hizi manifesto ambazo yani kweli surely see.
Thank you. First of all, I want to disagree with the Daktari again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, before I get to the manifesto. Yeah, he made an assertion that what he was saying, I don't know why it is escaping me, but
he says unless you're happy with where those who have been in leadership for all this time,
yes,
then ni sawa uendelee hivyo.
Yes, no, the area that I'm not agreeing with is that he's saying that the leaders that are now in the front line, who are ganging up to take over leadership of Kenya, they are the same people who have brought us to where we are
today, yes.
Which is not true, because you cannot bring this country to where it is when you've never been there. And when he's talking of some people to exit, I think the current duo, that is the president and his deputy, they are much younger people. So we should not be talking of who has been here long enough, who is you saying is not talking about age, but actually that is exactly what he means, because you cannot be there for a very long time and you're not adding on to your age. So the two must go together. But the others have never been presidents. Raila has never been president, Kalonzo has never been, Mudavadi has, Gideon Moi, they've never been president. So they have never brought this country to where it is. It is the people who have been there who have brought this country to where it is. So that distinction should be there. And that should not be used against anybody. That you people have been there for too long, you brought this country to where it is, can you exit? So that other people, because the people we have right now have never been there for long.
Those who are arguing that Raila Odinga and his brother, Uhuru Kenyatta, so Raila can't distance himself with what is going on currently.
Raila is not the president. And with our presidential system, it is the man at the helm who makes all the decisions. You can be given an advice, yes. You can choose to take it or not take it, but you will not go by what I say. I can only suggest and say, please, this one, we should take it this way. And the last time I think Raila said he's never been in government, he's not in the government. When he was in the government in 2002, we saw what happened. When he was in the government, in Nusumukati, we saw what happened, we saw the growth, that this country, when President Moi left, I think we are on the negative. Then after 2002, we moved up to almost 7%. And because of 2007, 2008 clashes and the issues that we had, we went backwards, but it started growing. So, I don't agree with that. But now coming to
Manifesto.
Yes, it is a requirement that anytime I want to take any position of leadership, I should tell the people what I intend to do for them. And I don't think Kenyans are not informed. Kenyans are very informed. Right now, if, for example, if you go to Kisumu County, you go to my sub-county, which is Nyando, you go to the ward, the young people are informed. The women are, in fact, some of that, sometimes I get a lot of information from the village. Until I wonder, who should be having this information, they have it more than me, because they pay a lot of attention to radios, TV. Sometimes as we don't even have time to listen to radio. But the people at the grassroots, they are informed, they know what they want. So you cannot just bring up yourself and say, I want to be your president, but you're not telling them. Kenyans are concerned about their livelihood. What is going to improve their lot? Am I going to have the basics? For example, am I going to have the infrastructure? If I go to the hospital, will I be treated? So Kenyans know, and the manifestos really resonate with what Kenyans want. Well, the problem we have is the actualization of the manifesto. Yes, the manifestos are so good. And I've always said that in Kenya, we have the best policies. We don't need any new policies. We have the best laws, and a lot of it. We can only correct the laws or add to something which is missing. But we have very good laws. We have very good policies. In fact, at some stage, somebody made a joke that if you go to Ministry of Treasury, I mean, if you go to Treasury, you will get the best. But when it comes to
Kwa ground,
you don't see those nice policies. So Kenyans, from where I see it, Kenyans are very informed, even up to the village, even the elderly people. They know what they want. They will ask you questions. Even as we debate, somebody can ask you, yes, I saw the way you are debating, but I didn't like this. You said this, but we didn't like this. And we don't even like the way you said it. So we need to bring these manifestos. Yes, they are there, they are good. My problem, as much as it is the problem of the people, why can't these things be implemented?
But they are only supposed to be implemented by those who win. I want to hear from
those
Ronnie.
who win and those who are at the helm.
Yeah, Ronnie,
yes.
You had a manifesto.
A very good one.
A very good. Sasa ilienda wapi? Ilienda wapi?
I think the problem with manifesto is that, and Senator is very right. You know, Kenyans generally will get these things, particularly when you give them the popular version, the one with the 10 points. They always remember those ones.
So even though mlitucheza,
you know, they will always remember those ones. What is the disconnect are two things. They don't vote for the manifesto.
They don't vote for manifesto.
Yes.
So they will read it, they will like it, they will say this is a good one, but they will not vote based on the manifesto. They will vote based on the tribal formations and all this excitement around the politics of the day, which then withdraws their right to question on where the promises on the manifesto are. Because you didn't vote for me because you read my manifesto. You voted for me because I paid you and because I managed to mobilize you. In fact, politicians generally think we owe them for bringing our tribe to government. I am the one who worked. I am the one who went and looked for the votes. I am the one who spent the money to make sure that we are in government. So they make us feel like we owe them. Number one. Number two, even where we know the manifesto, and this is in the Western world, Daktari will tell you where he is right now, in the UK, a manifesto is a contract that you're signing between you and the people. And therefore, if you have a job, you're given KPIs, key performance indicators. It's a contract. At the end of the term, or in intervals, we are supposed to sit down and say, umefanya gani, umefanya gani, hii haujafanya, hii umefanya nusu, unasema okay, hii ilinishinda kwa sababu ya hii. Hii ilinishinda kwa sababu ya hii. Hii tulifanya times 2 ile tulipromise. And then now we can have a conversation around that. And that is where civic engagement comes in. Not the politics. The politics was the process. It gets us to a place where we've elected Senator here based on a contract with the people of Kisumu. The people of Kisumu regularly need to sit down with her and say, where are we on this one? Why has this one delayed? Now that is civic engagement. And until we are able to help Kenyans distinguish between the two, then we have a big problem when it comes to delivering on the promises that politicians make.
Right. So,
but just to add on that, with the county governments, the devolution, there's a lot of engagement between the county governments and the people themselves. Because, for example, you take a ward, for example, before the budget, the MCA must engage them at the ward level. and they must look at the priorities. What are the priorities? What are the projects that we want? They will say number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And then after the implementation or after the budget, we engage them as senators. For example, I do, and I tell them, yes, these were the things that were promised this year, 2020, 2021. What has been achieved? And then they can tell you, this is done, this is done, this is not done.
But we've seen the infamous 6 months joke of the Jubilee government promises, where today it is the same citizens who voted the Jubilee government complaining about the 6 months narrative that the deputy president, who I'm sure Honorability is actually vouching for. If I'm not wrong, or if I'm right, you can also openly say.
You just want to ask me this, the most. I think you're waiting to
The
pin
question
that on
is,
me.
how do we ensure?
Or to box you.
No, I can't take you on. I mean, the yoga and everything.
No. Yoga has taken care of my anger management. Yes.
So this is the question, Honorability. How do you ensure that the citizens actively scrutinize these promises from the onset on when they're made to the process of implementation and to actually rate the scorecard before we go for the next vote? Because as Ronnie says, they don't vote for the manifesto. We just vote because we think we like you because you come from my community.
Yeah, but let's call a spade a spade, okay? My friend, Mishma Senator, has seen me in this dress outfit for the first time.
Yeah.
This is a Punjabi outfit.
Yeah.
I am representing my community. This is what people in my community wear.
Yeah.
The ladies in my community wear.
Yeah.
And why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I'm doing this to make a point.
Yeah.
Because before, if you do get a chance to look at the handset, when the contributions I made in Parliament from 2013 to 2017, it is not only for minorities, but it was for Kenyans at large.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go into details of those things, but what I'm trying to say here today is that please keep in mind the current situations because of Corona. That goddamn thing is real. When it catches you, you're going to look for a place to hide and you're going to have nowhere to go. And then you're not going to think about, is it a 2-horse race? You're going to have no horses on the ground and you're going to have nobody to take care of. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is that there's a point I made earlier on regarding my community and media.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are not blessed to have a community-based radio station as compared to other groups, ethnic groups in the country who have community-based radio stations. We have a problem in communicating our issues to people out there. That's one very big problem, yes? But that notwithstanding, what is my image of a leader today out there? My image of a leader today is a leader who is unbiased, who doesn't have a left or a right, who has his own opinion, and who is able to say, I am making this decision for the benefit of our citizens. And would Kenya like to see a Mwindi president one day? Yes, you never know. We have so many great Mwindi friends in Kenya today. My friend Wishmua Sumra was there for 4 times, then he got a seat. And we have Wishmua Rahim Dawood right now. I mean, great parliamentarians. But the fact of the matter is that today, as it has been said before, we cannot negate the fact that we have leaders above us who are being talked about a lot now. We cannot negate that. For heaven's sake, if you're going to go for that presidential seat, which I may one day, I might have the money to fund for that as well. But if you don't have the money to fund for that, where are you going to be? And will you be talking about it at that time? I hope we will, because to be honest with you, if we don't have shows like what you're having today, we won't have people to govern. So I think we all need to engage our people in unique ways. think out of the box and just see how we're going to get out to the youth and tell them that, look, we are all human beings as well, and we go through the same problems. And next year we're coming to a very big and important occasion, which is elections. We're not going to run away. There's not one economy in this country that has stopped an election because of Corona. And I don't think we should either. Because you know what? The whole of the world has been running forward. And we should not be running behind. We should be running just at their pace, if not.
Right.
And think about this. Today, we are on alarming rates of suicide rates. Alarming rates. I'm telling you, the figures are going to shock you. And we are doing so badly just because of lack of education, lack of support system, when there is so much out there. Nobody is able to give anybody free advice. And I'm sure a station like yours can get in knowledge-based people who can give people advice and tell them, you know what, if you want to do something, do it like this so that you can give our people advice.
Right. So you feel probably we have more problems to handle as a people than to think about politics.
I think those guys are going to take care of, you see, if they sort themselves out, then everybody else will sort themselves automatically. And in fact, the way we should do is, Sonia Birdi should be saying where she's standing for and what she will be doing by her, you know, making her own manifesto and using that opportunity to make sure that it pans out. But, and I think which everybody will do at their own time and pace, but that notwithstanding, I welcome other people on board and say, hey, listen, why don't we talk about politics? And why do you think I should be good and why should I not be good enough? Does my color of skin have anything to do with it? Does my policy have anything to do with it? Or the fact that I have money or not have anything to do with it.
Right. I'll bring you Dr. Kalui shortly, but I'm told we need to take a very short break, tukunywe maji kidogo. But let me read a few tweets that have come through as we take the break under the hashtag #TheBottomLineKE on Twitter. I have Filamu ya Kimathi. He says, most young people feel alienated from day-to-day politics because they are equally removed from the economic system. If we don't pay taxes because you're jobless, who cares about who is elected? This is what he feels. Young people have been secluded from electoral processes. That is what he feels. But Ronnie here, they ran on a ticket that was very young. And then you, Waris, and your teams did not vote for them. And I have another one coming through from where? Hey, imenipotea na nilikuwa nimeipata tu hapa. There you go. I have another one here. Michael Ndonye. Why are they sleeping over? Zinachomoka zikipotea. I have modus operandi, very interesting names on Twitter. When you lack sufficient knowledge of the issues to vote in a minimally informed way and don't have the ability or the time to increase your knowledge, at least to the point where you are better informed than the average voter. This, I think, he was responding to the issue of should those who don't vote complain about the leadership that is elected. I think that is what he was saying, and says the most obvious explanation is that if you don't vote, you didn't do something that could influence government in the way you want it to go. You didn't put in even minimal effort into making a change. Will you be voting in 2022? Are you going to be involved in any way in the political process? At what level do you even get involved? Did you just lose hope in the Kenyan politics? That's the question that we're asking when we come back on the final part or the final installment of this conversation tonight. Stay with us, keep tweeting. The hashtag is #TheBottomLineKE. We'll be back shortly.
Like, follow, subscribe, click the notification button. Join the Lookup TV movement now. Want to grow your business? Broadcast your sermon, share birthday wishes, make funeral announcements, produce adverts and documentaries? Then book and advertise with us today by calling us on +254 700 893 542
700 893 542
or email us on sales@look-up.tv.
Welcome to Look Up Guest House, Retreat and Prayer Center. When you first come in, we will be happy to receive you at our reception, then proceed to our cozy and well-equipped accommodation facilities. We aim to provide our guests with a unique, comfortable and worthwhile experience. Here at Look Up Guest House, we provide our guests with a continuous supply of room amenities. A cool environment for all your retreat activities.
Look Up Guest House, Retreat and Prayer Center. For reservation, contact us on info@lookupguesthouse.org or call us on 0746 788 707. Health Check in association with
Natural Juicing Center.
Health benefits of onions. Onions are a good source of vitamins, minerals, and fiber and are known to offer a variety of health benefits. Many kinds of onions contain a wealth of chemicals that help fight cancer. They contain organic sulfur compounds that help reduce the level of cholesterol in your body and may also help break down blood clots, lowering your risk for heart disease and stroke. You should eat onions raw rather than cooked to get most sulfur compounds from them.
Health Check in association with
Natural Juicing Center. You can now book for any service or order for food supplements on our website www.naturaljuicingcenter.co.ke. You can also visit our center in Kahawa Sukari, house number 1334, Kahawa Sukari Avenue. Natural Juicing Center. Your health is your wealth.
Property Guide in association with
Planning on taking a mortgage? Before you apply for a mortgage, it's a good idea to review your credit report to make any corrections or work on improving your credit. You should also review all the expenses of home ownership and plan your budget accordingly. Finally, compare all your mortgage options in terms of rate, loan term, and type to find the right one for you.
Property Guide in association with like, follow, subscribe, click the notification button. Join the Look Up TV movement now.
Right, welcome back. Thank you so much for being part of the Bottom Line KE. Every Monday, we set the record straight right here when it comes to political matters. Listen, I think you've noticed it's not about a shouting match on this particular platform. It is always about solution-focused conversations, and that's the direction we are taking right here, especially as we head towards the 2022 election. Tonight, we're discussing about the issue of participation in political processes, whether civic or political way. I think this is what we want to hear from you. Why are you not participating? Will you vote? We've seen people who have said there's voter apathy, there's no need for me to vote because mtu yangu hayuko pale, I will not be able to take part in that particular vote, or any other way. And if you are an active participator in political processes, what inspires you? What drives you? What would you like to see change in our political process in the country. That's what we're talking about. And it's a power panel, I want to tell you. We have a former presidential candidate. He has experience in running for office, and that is Dr. Kalui. He's with us all the way from the UK. And of course, we have Senator Rose Nyamunga. She's here with us, and Ronald Osumba, Deputy Presidential Candidate 2013, and Honorable Sonia Beidi. Thank you so much for still being with us on this conversation. I want us to talk a bit about the issue of participation in the political processes just to punish someone. Because we're talking about the mobilization, we're talking about the participation in that particular area. Before we get into the role of the elite in the sense of those who have the information, those who know how to deconstruct these manifestos in a way that they can be able to now share with the rest of the public and tell you know what, we fact-checked Mheshimiwa, Senator, and we think she's lying. And that what she says, she'll give you how. These whole policies we've heard about the bottom-up, we've heard about the idea of cutting or reducing the taxes. We've seen people who are participating in the process just because they want to punish another person. Mheshimiwa Rose, what would you be telling them tonight when it comes to the way forward in future political processes?
I don't get your question correctly.
Someone is going to vote because we don't just want so-and-so to win. We've seen people rallied in that. We saw in an election process where we were told, sisi wote tuamke kesho, kumera. I had something like that. You've had Senator Isaac Mwaura also saying, we just vote because we want to punish so-and-so, not to be able to win. Even the by-elections, in Kiambaa, there are those arguments that came up. We are voting this person just to punish the president and the direction he's taking. What message would you be telling those who are participating just for that?
Yeah, I think it's very unfortunate if at this time and age, somebody will still be thinking that way. We've seen it happen. It happened. It happens even in the village, where I come from. Sometimes you just have people within your office, and to you they are doing a very good job. But some particular people may not like people working in your office because of their personal reasons, or maybe they just think those people are the only ones who are benefiting. And most of the time they are not even benefiting. But people there's just a perception that these people near Washimiwa, they are the ones who are benefiting.
Yeah.
So come next time, we are not going to vote for this person, whether they are good or bad, because I don't want to see so and so near them. So yes, it is something which is very true. People do it. We have seen it at national levels. We have seen people who gang up to vote because maybe we don't want a particular presidential candidate. Not that we just don't want the presidential, maybe because of their tribe, what they stand for, or it's not because of what they stand for, but maybe just their tribe.
Just to punish
or maybe
them.
You think some people have been there for too long. They should not continue to be there. We don't want to hear this two-horse race because we want to hear 4 or 5 races.
Whether they're articulating good issues or not.
It doesn't matter. But it's unfortunate if we are still on that. We are there and it is unfortunate. I'm not saying we are not there. I've seen it. I have examples. We have seen it at national. We have seen it with presidential candidates, governors. You just think that this clique belongs to this governor. Because of that, we are not going to vote this governor because of his office, because of his tribe, because he only likes people from his village. So we are still far from it. And I would just urge young people that let us look for value, what we think can add value to ourselves. I think these leaders, maybe they've contested once, twice, you know what they stand for, you know what they have done for themselves. Because a leader cannot be a good leader. For example, I cannot go for a beauty contest and I'm not even well dressed for that contest. So we must have led by example and led our people to believe in us, in what we say. It has to start with you, how you do your thing, and how you've reached where you have reached. People may also associate you with corruption or no corruption, because people know people are corrupt, and they will say, hey, we are very corrupt. So we should be looking for value in our leaders. We should not go for punishments, because if we go that direction, we may lose very good leaders or we may bring on board very bad people.
Yeah.
But where we have reached, I think now we should be moving forward.
We should be moving
and be
forward.
adding values to ourselves.
Right. So what you're saying, Senator, is that when the rubber meets the road during the nomination process for the presidential flag bearer for your party, you'd be happy to pick, let's say, someone like Jimmy Wanjigi, who has already declared and submitted his papers. Yeah. And if your party leader will also be on the table, if Jimmy Wanjigi has right policies and right vision, you'd be happy to pick him.
Right policies and right vision, but also leading from the front.
Leading from the front.
How has he led his life? How has he done things? How has he moved from, how has he lived his life? It's not a matter of just writing a good manifesto and trying to sell it to me. But for me, I will go beyond just the manifesto and also look at the individual and see where they are coming from.
Right.
To see if they can take me where I want to go to. Yes.
Ronnie, I mean, no chills, 2013 ilipita. But when you look back, do you feel you were punished? You forgive Kenyans?
I forgive Kenyans because they got what they deserved. They say, no, this is true.
Yeah.
You get the leaders you deserve.
Yeah.
And leaders are
choices have consequences.
Indeed. But leaders are also a reflection of the values of a country, of the values of a people. And we have to reach a point where we say this thing is no longer transactional, right? If you're choosing to punish Senator Rose by not electing her, and therefore elect any other person, just so that she does not get in, at the end of the day, this person you're bringing in is going to be leading you, right? So the consequences, you will have to live with it. And therefore, I think Kenyans generally need to then understand that there is value in reflecting your own beliefs and your own values in your leader. And therefore, when it comes to making those choices, it does not need to be a transaction. It is a partnership you're building for the leaders to be able to deliver your personal aspiration. In fact, we normally say, and this is the concept behind universal suffrage, where every one person has one vote. But that one vote must be the vote that represents your aspiration. Not somebody else's, not Mheshimiwa Sonia's. I will not sit down with Mheshimiwa Sonia and say, who are we voting for? Eventually, of course, that happens. But I must be able to vote for the person I think represents my aspiration, my children's aspiration. That is why it is a single vote. You have your one vote. If it was to be the only vote, that you're ensuring the person you're choosing will be the right person for you and for this country. So I think this education needs to be progressive. Of course, we cannot remove the element of the drama of politics. Again, anywhere in the world, politics always has drama. So we must always expect the drama. And sometimes it is entertaining. That drama is entertaining. And people get absorbed in the entertainment. And therefore, they don't get into the details of finding out, okay, including that punishing so-and-so. It's part of the entertainment. It's part of the drama, So we need to help Kenyans understand how to interrogate candidates, how to participate in processes. And the electoral process, I think it is Daktari who said, and Mheshimiwa Sonia here said, we need to start participating now when the process opens. Because very soon, the IBC calendar is kicking in. The IBC calendar is kicking in with mass registration. Please make sure you register. Because if you don't register, then you can't vote. If you don't vote, then you don't have a say on what the country will look like in 5 years. When it comes to inspection of that register, don't cry after the election that there were dead voters in the register. If you did not take your time to go and inspect the register, the voter roll, which again is a constitutional requirement. Okay, so let Kenyans participate in each, and when the candidates come and we are told, okay, now we are vetting candidates, IEBC has opened up for memoranda on each candidate, you do not submit a memoranda, and then later you come and say, IEBC cleared a corrupt person, or IEBC cleared a thief. Where were you when the vetting was happening? And it is yet a requirement of the law that you participate in the process. So let's not wait for the day. Let's make sure we also understand what this process looks like, what each event where we are required to participate are, and then participate.
Honorable Sonia, before we bring Dr. Kalui. Dr. Kalui, I still remember you. You'll definitely be joining us to talk to us a bit about that area of voting by way of punishing the other person as opposed to voting because we like the manifesto or we like the direction this person wants to take us. Honorable Sonia, I mean, where do we go from here? How do we ensure that all the makasiriko that we are seeing in the country today, in the sense of the political temperatures, are actually the citizenry pushes aside the sideshows and ask, wait a minute, apart from this drama and the drama that Ronnie says, we want to hear the issues. You've talked about the suffering that the citizens are going through. Where are those citizens to come out and just say, you know what, enough is enough of your drama. The president and the deputy president, we want to hear issues that concern us, that will deal with our particular problems. How do we go? Where do we go from here?
You know, I think, Eugene, the first thing is education, obviously. I think all of us has reiterated that more than once. But the other thing is, I don't think I answered your question about our deputy president very aptly. Because I think the problem here is, he seems like the problem in the equation. Because somebody can say, all 7 people cannot be wrong. How is it that he's standing on one side and everybody else is on the other side? You know, I think what's happening at this point in time is the Tano Tena conversation, which has really dragged on a lot, you know. And in all hindsight, I think what was very fresh in people's mind is the Tano Tena promise. And I think people have really felt that this guy has really been treated very badly. And maybe I think the point has really been driven home that there is somebody who's been treated unfairly. So, you know, that has really been communicated very well out there. And these days, I think it's very easy for people to see what is really going on in the basic politics of it all. Because let's be clear here, it is a 2-race horse at the end of the day, and maybe a 3 if Mheshimiwa comes in next
No,
year.
don't be diplomatic.
Yes.
Feel free to say if that is what you think.
But the thing is, at the end of the day, even I need to know what his manifesto is going to be. But I know for a fact that at the end of the day, people will come and they will sign for me because they know me. And when you start selling them a manifesto, it sounds like something else to them, sounds like trash. So are we on the right road? I would say at least we're having this discussion today. If we were not having this discussion today, I would be worried. Because then that would mean that I don't see light at the end of the tunnel, but I can say I see light at the end of the tunnel because we are all actively participating. So a few years, maybe next year, something like that, we'll be sitting back and saying, hey, we were pioneers in starting conversations like this, and where are we today? So I can just say that we need to look a bit closer to home, because you see, we can't be running for president, at least I can't, not at least right now. If I don't focus on where I'm going to stand, then I'm going to lose sight of what exactly I want to achieve. So to everybody who's watching at this point in time, start focusing on where you want to stand and start making your numbers count, because one of these guys is going to be the president, it's certainly not going to be you. So you might as well focus on what you want to do and then work your way, and then the rest will sort itself out.
Right. Dr. Kalui, she did not say you, but do you think it is you who will not certainly be the president because you'll be voted out because you're being punished and you have the right manifesto, the right vision for the country? And where do we move from here? What is the vision? From 2017, when you lost the vote, to now coming back for 2022, what are the new lessons? What are the things in terms of engaging for participation of the citizens that you think your campaign team has worked on for Honorability to say, you know what, I know you've amassed some good numbers and I think you stand out and we can vote for you?
Yeah, since you skipped me for a round, I think I get extra time to start fairness there.
Yeah.
And you didn't stop referring me to 2017 presidential candidate. I'm 2022 presidential candidate.
You know, you didn't make that clear. We assumed until you've said it now. Thank you.
Okay. So that aside, I want to first mention something Senator had mentioned, that I'm talking of age and service.
Yeah.
Age and service are not correlated. A younger person could have started earlier and another person could have started later, and another person could have had less service. What I'm talking about here, and make no mistake, because I'm usually one of the people who talk very directly, and I'll invite all my colleagues to check my social media or wherever I've spoken, my TV. I'm a very direct person, one of the most direct people when I speak, because I can mention names, because if they are my opponent, I can mention. I'm not talking about Raila. Raila is someone I respect a lot, to be honest with you, because of many reasons, and I've always maintained that. So what I'm talking about is record. I'm not talking about the age, who should be. That is, we would be very simplistic if we start talking about age. We want to see performance. And if someone has been given a chance, they blew it, it is okay. They step aside, another person. I believe God brings every generation with his own leaders. So there is no reason for hanging on to the power in a different generation, when our generation, we want to be able, and this is not just a matter of generation, it is a matter of who can deliver, and I will mention something about that. Before I go very far, I'm very usually disappointed when right now, where we are almost at election time, we are talking of one thing that cannot be a manifesto is someone has been treated badly. As Sonia said, that so-and-so has been treated badly. That cannot be a manifesto for someone being elected. We want people who have solutions to the people. And I hear many, and you have mentioned bottom up, and I haven't heard anything from Baba in terms of the manifesto. We are saying that we know what the person stands for. Even the problems change. So we can't know where someone stands for. And besides, as Senator had said, these people who have been president, or that, I believe I want to really go against that, because if you have been a president or deputy president, you should be working together. And if you have been a prime minister, you are working 50-50 government with President Kibaki. You have been in government. In fact, you have been the most senior person so far, even than the DP and VP. The others have been vice presidents, including including Musalia has been a vice president, the shortest serving vice president in the history of Kenya. So all these people, they have been there in the topmost power. They have been given a chance to say, I can do it, show us your job. They have not been able to deliver. Let's just be very straight. And I want to debate and argue and prosecute the case for the Kenyan people in a debate, and I can be able to answer these questions. So before even talking very further, I want to make sure that I deliver my manifesto out there. If you cannot be a presidential candidate today, you have no manifesto. I'm the only person, if you follow me, and you may not have followed me before, and if you have not known, I'm sure you're going to probably start following me. I'm the only person with a 7-point plan, because the only thing I'm hearing is that there's bottom up. Let's talk to the people. Let's find out what it is. We cannot do that. You better, after all these years in service, know what Kenyans' problems are, and you should come with solutions today so that we can see you have solutions. So in my manifesto, I have a 7-point plan. In fact, in my 2017, I had 6-point plan. I've only added one, and I'll be able to tell you one. I'll just read them very quickly. I'll be making policies that make life affordable, because there are no policies, because even rent policy, making the most essential commodities to make sure they have prices that are right. There is almost everybody's running willy-nilly about what they charge for everything, including gas.
Dr. Where can we get this manifesto? I mean, where is it?
No, I created the manifesto. I'm the only person in the last 1 year I knew I'll run for it, and I created the manifesto.
Where is it? Where can the Mwananchi get it? If you want to interrogate it.
My background is science. I'm a scientist. I don't approach anything without research. Trying to find, I'm the only probably person who has been running since 2017. In most of the leaders who kind of fail, they stopped serving the people or talking to the people. I have known this continuation since then. I've been finding the hopes, dreams, and aspirations and challenges of the people, trying to see the statement of problem, and I had to summarize them. The other problem is
Daktari Ojajibu Swali, you didn't respond. Where can we get the manifesto to interrogate it?
The manifesto is in my social media, which is Honorable Jeff Kalui at Facebook.com, and at Twitter there is at Dr. Kalui at Twitter. That's my Twitter handle. You can go also to Instagram. You'll be able to find it there.
So allow us, because of time, so that we can interrogate it and then we're able to discuss it in the next debate.
Yes. So I'll be so the only thing I added from my 6-point plan, apart from the economy and taxes, lowering the taxes and making sure that I'm the end of corruption. Because one of the things all these people have served during corruption time. Remember, corruption is the biggest problem we have. It is not even the economy, not anywhere without in the economy, whether it's bottom up or whatever sideways. Anybody saying that they would create jobs and all this, we have a problem with corruption. Any economy will not survive in a current condition. So first of all, and I've done a lot of sales, you do not buy the manifesto, you buy the person. In others, when you are selling something, so even if you can have a higher price, and if you trust the person, you buy that price at a higher price. So what we have is lack of trust, honor of the people who are running. And we can't trust them if they promised us before and they were not being able to deliver. So all of them who are in the lineup, they have promised before, they have run for these people, for this thing before, and they have not been able to deliver.
So in one line, Daktari,
what are we looking?
Yeah, yes. Daktari, so in one line, they have been there before, they promised, they failed to deliver. Why should Kenyans trust you, who has been promising yet never been given the chance to deliver or to actually work on it?
Because first of all, I've been working to show the kind of work I can be able to do. Okay. I've never been involved. I have no corruption file that I've ever been involved in. I could have gotten contracts if I wanted, but I work hard and play by the rules like everybody else. And I come clean. I'm not part of the cartel. I make my decisions independent. That is the kind of person that we want, so that we can return honor and trust in the office of the presidency.
Right.
So that is how I come to the people. And I would like to be interrogated. I would like to be vetted. And I would like them to be interrogated. Each of the candidates that has come in there, they have a file that they have been interrogated. They have been at a problem before. But then we are trying to say, oh, because they have never had, their manifesto is that I'm about to get old and this is my last term. Most of them, they are in their last term in terms of ability to serve. So it is like, now let's give them a chance now before it happens. No, that cannot be the manifesto for leading the nation. It should be honor who can deliver. I believe I'm the only person, even in the background of my education, my MBA is finance economics. I've been able to work in Wall Street and win awards and even help other countries create their economies. One moment. And then also helped other countries like Nigeria. If you go to YouTube, if you go to anywhere else, you'll be able to find me. I'm also, my PhD is health policy and research, where I've done HIV concentration and viruses. When we talk of post-corona economy, I'm the only person who can talk of economics competently, and I've helped countries. I'm the only person who can talk health competently. Yeah. I'm sure there are other people with PhDs, but I hear they're in zoology or something else.
Right.
But I'm the only person who can speak that language. I'm the only person who can be trusted. And I know I will be able to deliver if people give a chance. So we need, like we said, the final point is that we need equal chance. Because, Sonia, I disagree with you vehemently that there will be a two-horse race. Why would you even think about that, something like that? Other people are not being given opportunity. Why would you just, unless you support that there's 2-horse race and that's the way it has been, if we give everybody else a chance, I guarantee you, if we go for a debate from now to August, they will not stand a chance. Among many other people, not just me, even Osuba, if he came back, they will not stand a chance. But because media has decided to illuminate them and give them the light, why wouldn't they be two-horse race? And it is a manipulation. It is basically a political blackmail to Kenyans.
Dr. I want to challenge you. The country needs people like you. I'll come to you, Honorability. The country needs people like you in the area that you mentioned, that you're the only one with the ability to help handle post-corona. You should not wait until 2022, Dr. Kenya needs you. If you can do something about it, let us not wait until you're voted in for you to deliver on that. Please.
And I support the administration. I support the administration, the government, in the sense that I want to give them my ideas.
You've tried and they've refused.
When I win 2022, I want to
But we might all be gone. Corona might have swept all of us. When you can help us right now. Let's take a few of the closing remarks now. Thank you so much, Dr. Kalui. Let me take the parting shot from Honorability, because we need to go home and be with our loved ones. Yes.
Lovely gentleman, but I just want to tell you, the thing is, we are all very sensitive to information that's out there right now, and we have no issues of you joining the presidential race next year. I just want to give you a piece of my advice. Just take it as a 10 cent, You just like I have a great social media team. You have 4,111 followers on Twitter, my friend. If you really want to run behind the President Uhuru and DP, I think you need to have a very good social media team, because with 4,111, my friend, you're going to struggle. Good luck to you for next year if you are going to be running. But with 4,111, my friend, you have another thing coming. So your manifesto might just be something that's going to be so decorative on the internet. But I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to tell you as it is. Things out there are different. What is and what is on the ground, kuna kitu ingine. My friend, you're more than welcome to come here. I will sponsor your car. Is that okay? And we can do this together. I'll be your deputy. How about that? I'll help you out.
That would be the outside.
Hey, can you give us Daktari? We can't hear Daktari. We can't hear Daktari. Come on, hurry up.
I think he's booting me out even before I applied.
We must hear what Daktari said. Daktari, what did you say?
What I said is that I would love to have her as my deputy, no problem with that. But what I'm saying that she's assuming that is the only account, which makes me know that the information she is trying to assume is not all research. You're assuming that is the only one. Social media is complicated. There are other accounts that are combined that you can put together. And guess what, Sonia? If I wanted an account with over 1 million tomorrow, I could. I just buy the followers. Do you know where all those followers you see where they come from? You buy them. They are all over. Even you, if you wanted 500,000 followers tomorrow, I'll tell you how to get them. So let's not assume anything and assume what you see on one account is what exists. So let's not talk about social media just very generally. So Sonia, let's talk about that more when we combine our forces to be independent.
So you just got yourself a running mate on the show.
So he just hired me, in other words.
Right, Honorable Sumba, I mean, your take home, I mean, where do we go from here? At the end of the day, we have one country, and that is Kenya. No matter what the politicians do, no matter what happens in 2022, this is our country for all of us.
Yep. And I think Kenyans are generally fundamentally good people. You know, if you walk across this country to every single corner, every county, you find extremely hardworking people who mind their business and are generally good to each other, irrespective of which community you come from. I think that we must say. And we should appreciate and we should thank God. In fact, the fact that we have multiple ethnicities, 40 plus, is a big blessing to this country. Because in countries where there are less ethnicities, 2 or 3, the situation is usually worse because getting them to fight against each other is much easier. But that said, I think, calling on Kenyans, I think it's Mheshimiwa Sonia who said, someone will get elected.
Yeah.
Whether you participate
or not. Yeah.
Someone will get elected. Yeah. So it is up to us as individual citizens to ensure that we participate so that we do the best we can to get the person we believe in and we value to get elected. But if they don't get elected, it is fine. You have an opportunity for civic participation. So I keep pushing for this civic participation. It is not the end of the world. It is not the end of Kenya. You have an opportunity to participate civically between the election. Yeah. So participate now in the political process, but remember that after the election, whoever gets elected, we can participate civically.
Yeah, we used to have a very active opposition, and I want to bring in Senator as we close. And many people are always saying Honorable Raila Odinga gave the government of the day a run for their money and helped in that civic participation whenever there was something that needed to be put out there, whenever there were certain rights that were being violated, Honorable Raila Odinga was always there. Today, there are those who argue he's now in government, whether you say was never been part of government or not, they don't see the same vibrancy. But I've gone, the argument has always been, kwani nani aliwaambia yeye ndiye anafaa kufanya hiyo kazi ya opposition every time. So my question to you as you close for us, as give us the last word, where do we move from here? How do we ensure that much as the politicians might not want the electorate to be that educated, like Ronnie Osumba said, mjinga kerevuka mwerevu yu mashakani, how do we ensure that we still have a civil country where people participate actively and leaders who want office run for office on the basis of ideals, principles, and not what we see today?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I want to correct the notion that you've just mentioned. That when Raila used to be in the opposition, he's still in the opposition. I am still in the opposition. I've never spoken on behalf of the government. And I will not, because I'm not inside that government. But we just changed tact. Yeah, because you see now things are running out. It was like the country was not going to hold together. Things were going wrong. So do you sacrifice your country or do you stick to your gun? I mean, do you salvage your country or you stick to your gun? So I think we just changed tact, that now we want to be more, we would be more constructive in our criticism. But we have maintained that we are still in the position, still pointing out wrong things and making suggestions, but not that we have relegated on our responsibility. We are still in the opposition. Maybe not as vibrant as it was because we wanted to be more constructive. I will tell you this is wrong, but instead of going to the street and shouting about it, I would rather sit down with you and tell you, please, this direction will not take us very far.
But that strategy people are saying is working against your party leader, associating with the government of the day, which Ronnie says Kenyans got what they deserved. I mean, in a very way of saying, hey, simulitaka hivyo.
Yeah, because they are used to that vibrancy. But we are still doing the same way, the way we used to do it. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not, to me,
you wouldn't advise your party leader to disassociate as soon as you can from the president and the government of the day?
I would not, because we will need Kenya to move forward even as we wait for next year's elections.
Okay.
And I think Kenya is bigger than what we can talk about or the negativity that we can come up with. So in my view, we will still continue being in the opposition up to the last minute. And we want to let this country move forward.
Right.
Yes.
What about way forward now from this conversation?
Yes. Now, way forward, I think Kenyans are well informed. I wouldn't say that politicians would want to sit on the electorate so that they don't understand or they don't understand where the problems are. Kenyans are very, very well informed. And for me, every time I'm at the grassroots, trying to campaign or push an agenda, be it just for information or not, I have told you I discover that the grassroots is very informed. And whatever decision they make, they don't make it because they are not informed, but they make it for the same reason that we have said, that politicians have galvanized people against each other for them to benefit. And I think this is something that came with independence, because we thought the British rule was the worst, but we've never made it any better. We've used our people against ourselves. So in my view, way forward, we continue to engage the electorate, we continue to educate them, to do a lot of civic education, to be very honest with them, and also to advise them to make the right decision so that we don't keep complaining. Every time we elect people, after 2 days we start complaining. In fact, you go in before you are sworn in, just because you have not gone home for 2 weeks, they're already on you. That, okay, now, umepotelea. But they don't know why you are there, because sometimes you have to sort out things here first before we go back. But I think our people are informed, and I would like to urge Kenyans to think outside the box and make sure that they come up with good leaders. Right. And also we can also reduce on our politicking. Yeah. We politic too much, which is not working in the positive for any one of us.
But you see, sio sisi, ni nyinyi wanasiasa.
No,
sio sisi.
It is you people who are engaging us permanently.
On political issues.
On political issues.
But we're also changing tact.
How are you changing it?
In the way we are engaging, so it is more of solutions focused.
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You agree?
I agree.
Asante. Thank you. So we want to bring down the curtains to the conversation tonight, but I want to say thank you to Hebrews Wallan on our Facebook live stream right now. He says, I like how Dr. Kalui is articulating real issues and more of mature politics, but are Kenyans willing to engage political contenders at that level? I don't know, Dr. Kalui, wewe uko tayari kukuwa engaged hivyo with the Kenyans? Faith Kipchumba says, it's true, Kenyans now want what they want. Rather, Kenyans know what they want, but what happens when it comes to elections? Mtu yetu nonsense intensifies. This is what she says. Wanjiro Agosho, thank you so much. He says, great discussion. Neddy Gladys says, it's time we hold our leaders accountable for based on their manifestos. We talked about the manifestos, but we were told most electorates do not vote for manifestos. They vote for something different. Otherwise, we will have a big problem distinguishing a sweet tongue, written down manifestos, and a joke. Kudos look up for having this talk. Asante sana. Nubi says educative. Thank you very much. I have another one. Ronald Osumba is an embodiment of reason. Kudos to all the panelists. I enjoyed the talk. Thank you very much. Joy Mark says a well-balanced panel. Daktari Kaluyu, I am eagerly waiting to read your manifesto. Aye, Sonia said few followers. So, Daktari, I hope you're going to work on that. You know, saizi people are going digital. Tuko hapa. Right, so thank you. I want to say thank you to our teams, all the people who have been behind the scenes to actually ensure that this conversation goes live. The conversation ends within these beautiful four walls, but it continues across our social media platforms. But we'll be able to come back on this next time, same place, same time. The hashtag, as always, to keep the conversation going is the bottom line, KE. We'll keep unpacking what has come out of this conversation throughout the next days as we monitor the political events in the country. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of the show. My name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe. Goodbye.
Like, follow, subscribe, click the notification button. Join the Lookup TV movement now.